channel, people. I'm a little bit excited about this today. I've ordered something from AliExpress. Well, I order most of my things from AliExpress. This is going to be the best thing I've ever bought, or the worst thing I've ever bought. We'll soon find out when we fit it and we test it. But anyway, let's have a look what we got. Very windy today. We have got, for the back of the Gen 4 patch, a replacement for the panel that goes under the rear aircon controls, and it has a twin USB port, a totally useless but cool light, and an inverter. Now, of course, it's not going to be a very powerful inverter built into your factory wiring. It claims to be a 150 watt inverter. Now, when I kitted my car out with all the electrics that I've got in the back here, I did toy with the idea of getting an inverter, and then I worked out what I would actually need to power from that inverter. I literally have my electric shaver, which I don't know what wattage that is, but it will be very low, and my Apple laptop, which is a 60 watt plug, what am I looking for? I'm lost for words. It uses 60 watts to charge it anyway. Now this is rated at 150 watts. Even if it's half what it's rated at, 75 watts, then it's still going to be adequate for what my charging needs are for 240 volt. So I'm going to fit this today, I'm going to test it and see how we go. I'm hoping for great things. Fingers crossed. Alright, so just looking at how it mounts, it looks like there's two screws from the top. So that will be two screws there and there. And then these look like they just slide in, you don't have to take the screws fully out. But these screws look a bit awkward to get to because they're down there. I'm hoping I can maybe just pop this plastic off and get to that. Otherwise we're going to have to take the seats out, which is going to be an arsey job. So I'm going to put the camera down and I'm going to tackle that now and then come back to you. Alright, so I think this is probably going to be easier than I initially thought, because I thought I had to get into there. But you take the whole center console out. So, cup holder out. The cup holder is just held in with clips. 1, 2, 3, 4 clips. So you literally just grab the cup holder and just pull it out. I've left mine half sort of wired in because I got my tire pressure monitor wired in there, so I'm just going to leave that wiring. And then basically you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Phillips screws there, and you got 1, 2 Phillips screws there, and then literally the whole center console comes out. Now I'm just going to close that lid down because there is some wiring here. Okay, so I've actually hardwired. Alright, so I'm going to have to disconnect this because I've hardwired into that, and that is the wiring that we use maybe. So I need 2 hands for that, so I'm going to disconnect that. I'm going to get this center console fully out, and then we can work on the bench or in the back of the car. That's going to be much easier. Alright, so in order to get this fully out, you've got 3 connectors. You got this one here, which I believe is for the accessory socket that's in there. You got this one down here, which is for the rear aircon control. So if you have a base model, you won't have that one. And this one I think is for the illumination for the rear aircon controls. So again, if you have the base model, you won't have that one either. You might not even have the accessory socket if it's a base model, I'm not sure. But basically on most of them you got the 1, 2, 3, and then the console's fully out. Alright, so with the console out, this piece is very easy to remove. So we've got these screws here which I thought were going to be a nightmare to access, but obviously easy once it's out. And then you have 1, 2. Hard to see because it's dark. 1, 2. So I'll get them out now and get this panel off. Alright, so I got them 4 screws out. There is a couple of little plastic welds, one there and then one up here as well, so I'm going to have to break them. Whether we're going to have to put something on there, double-sided tape, glue or something to make that a nice fitment, I'm not sure just yet. And the little connector which I said was for the aircon illumination, I've never actually sat in the back of this car, so I didn't know. It has like a little floor light right there, and that's what the small connector's for. So that makes sense as to why this has the light, although it looks like you might even be able to put the floor light in because it has a little hole there. So maybe it has the floor light and that. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, we can actually put the floor light in this. Okay, no worries, I'll swap that over as well then. Cool. Alright, so I got my little ambient light in, just 2 screws for that. These air vents, very easy to pop out, pretty tricky to get in. I'll tell you why. So these just literally sort of slide in from the front, and then there's 3 little retaining clips. There's one at the top there, there's one at the bottom, but then this one here on the side, see if I can get a better view of that. That one on the side, right there. Again, I'm going to have to use 2 hands for this, but basically that will not just push in. So what I've done on the other side here is I've had to get a little flat blade screwdriver and kind of force that tab out. So I'm going to pop this one in now. Alright, so that's all back together now. You got the excuse me, you got the 3 little connectors there. The inverter unit itself is a separate unit. It's this here. So that's where your three connectors plug in. It has its own inline fuse for the main power feed in. And I was looking at this, trying to work it out, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to have to lose my accessory socket and also my tire pressure monitor. But I believe that this plugs into there, and then that plugs in to the initial, the existing wiring. So basically it's just teeing off the original wiring. Where that goes, I'm not sure. I'm guessing you're just going to have to put it somewhere neat. There's probably a heap of space here. Maybe I can fasten it up to something, or maybe it will just sit in there and wedge itself. Maybe up the back here. I don't know. I'll get this section fastened on, I'll get it plugged in, and then we'll make a plan from there. Alright, so because of the actual unit itself, which is here, it makes it pretty impossible to get them screws there. So I'm leaving these screws out so I can basically pull that back, tighten them screws, push that in, put the top screws in. Alright, so got everything back together. So I got the wiring plugged in. This plugs into there. You can't really see, sorry. So this plugs into there. I need to work out where I'm going to run this wiring, and also where I'm going to sit the unit itself. Now I'm thinking of sitting the unit just on top of here, which means this little bracket that holds these 2 connectors in, I'm just going to have to bend this little bracket down a little bit, and then hopefully I can just slide the inverter on top. So I'm going to bend that bracket and then come back. Alright, so I bent that bracket and that sits nicely on top of there. Now when I bolt this down through there, I need to be careful of this wiring. I don't want to have this shorted to earth, so I'm going to try and tuck this under there, the fuse under there, that's tucked under there nicely. So basically I got the wiring coming out the back, comes around, tucked underneath, so the fuse is just tucked underneath, and then when I tip all of this forward, this wiring will come forward and obviously out of the way from that. So I might just tip this forward for now. Oh, hang on, nearly forgot to plug the rear aircon in down there. Okay, that's it now. So I'll just tip this whole thing forwards. Hang on, let's pull my wiring through here. My tyre pressure monitor. Bring this forwards. You then have to lift this, so we can slide this under. Like so. Just move this way. Alright, so there's my wiring for my tyre pressure monitor. That's all where it will go, but not fastened in. I'm going to test this before I fasten anything up, because if it doesn't work I'll just be pulling it all apart again. Alright, we'll fire the car up so we got full charge voltage. Let's come around the back. Oh, look at that. That's lovely. Alright, so it gives you battery voltage, 30.6. Let's turn the inverter on. And that's telling us the inverter voltage, 224 volts. Oh, it's so pretty. And I'm guessing that comes on with the lights. So I'm going to go pop the lights on. Yep. And now we have our little footlight also. Alright, now the true thing. Let's plug something in and see if the car catches fire. Alright, let's really put it to the test. Snap-on 18 volt NiCad battery. Where are we? Input. I might not focus. Input 120 watts. So this is way more than I will ever need to charge off of this. So let's flick the switch, see what happens. Charging. $219 volts, and we're charging. Yeah. So what I might do is I might just flip that back over. Actually, I'll leave it going for 10 minutes. I won't film that. No one wants to see this flashing for 10 minutes. I will then come back and I will see if that inverter itself is super red hot, and yeah, assess, have we purchased the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. See you in 10 minutes. Alright, we're 5 minutes in. I thought I'd really test it. So we got the snap-on battery charging, which is 120. iPhone, torch. Obviously these two items off the USBs there will be very, very low power consumption. But yeah, we basically got this loaded up as much as we can. I could probably try run something a bit more off of there, but I've got so many USBs in the car that I'll never actually use these. I've no need to use them. My backseat passengers might use them if they want to charge their phones on the go, but while I'm in the car by myself and away traveling, I will never use these. So I'm going to give it another 5 minutes, and yeah, so far so good. Alright, we've been going for 10 minutes now, so I've just tipped everything back. Everything's still plugged in and going. That's very warm, but I won't even say it's hot, I'd just say it's very warm. Like, I can literally press my fingers on it and leave them on. And the top is warmer than the bottom, and obviously the only thing that's at the top is this metal bracket. So I think what I'm going to have to do, because obviously there's a screw there and the screw's going to poke through, if this is going to rattle around, I don't want that causing any problems. So I may, in fact, I'm in two minds whether to put something sticky on that, or whether to just leave it. I mean, that's pretty solid metal that it's made from. Do you know what, I might just actually wedge it in there with a piece of foam. Stick a piece of foam there to stop it rattling around, and then the foam will obviously stop the screw from rubbing in there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll get it all back together. I'm going to keep it going, keep it charging while we're going. But yeah, I think this is going to be a great success. Great success. Alright, it's just started to rain, which is good because, well, it's not good, but I'm finished anyway. So I got all this back together, got my tyre pressure monitor back in, wired up, running, all the centre console fastened back in, still got the battery charging, still got the phone and the light charging. Now we've only got 200 volts there. Obviously there is a volt drop. Well, we didn't even have the full 240 to start with, but at 200 volts we're still charging the battery. So unless my next video is how to put out a fire in a Pajero, then I think this has been a massive success. Like I say, I'm only going to be charging very low wattage stuff, so anyone in the same boat as me that doesn't need to charge a lot, I mean, even if you're a trader and you just need to charge your tools up, your batteries, your tool batteries, then what a great little piece of kit this is. I think it cost me about $140. I will post a link in the description. Yeah, happy days.